Happy Friday. It's the 6th of June. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett. My co-host and partner, Sarah Ellison, is continuing to enjoy her time in Switzerland. She is private on Instagram, but I got to tell you, she's doing her fair share of oversharing, which I'm fired up about. Talk about full circle there, or a night and day from when she first started with me on this show. It's been awesome. She and her daughter, London, really seem to be enjoying Zurich, and I hope they are because it's deserved time off for both of them. London having been super busy and involved in school, and of course Sarah just being a very involved, caring, freaking awesome mother of four. So anyway, sorry I'm running a couple minutes behind. There was a very strange power outage this morning. Literally, it went down to like 11:20, and now my mother is conveniently actually, I think, wanting another cameo at the start of the show, because she's coming out of the laundry room because I'm in her basement right now, and here comes the cameo off the top of the show.
I just had to get my thing so I can make some soup. Sorry.
So you're feeling under the weather. It's okay.
Yes.
I haven't even had a chance to say who this episode's sponsored by, and that is our new friends at Huel. Man, you guys know I've been on this 6 a.m. grind from a workout perspective the last several months. Just love the structure that it gives me. And lately, I've been going to Metabolic Meltdown. Prior to that, it was F45, Pilates, things like that down in Baltimore. But the replenishing side of just that consistent kind of workout grind, I've really found a lot of value in Huel. So I look forward to telling you a little bit about them in just a bit. On your way in, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's hard to get things done around here. Hit that notification bell. You know how it goes. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for an awesome display of generosity yesterday. We are now at 600 channel members, official Voltron. So if you'd like to give, if you'd like to become a member, you can click on the link that's in the show notes. You can also just press the join feature, depending on what platform you are watching this show on today. And perhaps we hit that 700 number on this Friday. We'll see. So glad you guys can be with me. Here's what I have coming up over the course of the next hour or so, beginning with what Zach Orr had to say yesterday at his OTA's press conference regarding his rookie edge rusher, Mike Green, who, of course, they picked in the second round back in April out of Marshall. Prior to that, of course, he played his college football at Virginia prior to the transfer. Other than that, man, and I should say other than that, because Zach had a lot to say about a number of players, including Nate Wiggins, Trenton Simpson, Teddy Buchanan, the rookie, and fellow edge rusher Adafe Owe. So we're going to get into all that and more, including Rashod Bateman's revenge tour. That's a direct quote that he says he is coming after, coming off of yesterday's news, which was the contract extension. He also penned an emotional note on social media after that news what came down the pike. And obviously for Rashod, this is his third contract extension in Baltimore. No other homegrown Ravens wide receiver has earned more than one. So congratulations to Rashod. Adam Sandler responded to Derrick Henry, and they had a nice little back and forth courtesy of Dan Patrick after his interview on NBC Sports earlier this week. So in other news, it's a jam-packed Friday. I'm so glad to be here with you. We've got brand new members to address and announce off the top before we dive into the content, including David Anderson, C. Brittle, Liv B., Chalky White, and Glenn Hughes. Thank you guys for becoming new channel members and official Voltrons. We appreciate you for being with us. Okay, so again, Zach Orr spoke with the media yesterday, getting ready for his second year as Ravens defensive coordinator. He is still in his early 30s, and obviously last year presented quite a bit of challenges off the jump, but man, it was night and day when he was finishing things up. I think we can probably all agree with that. He was in his bag. The pass defense made the necessary adjustments. They were top 2 in overall sacks. Roquan had an all-pro season after a slow start. And really, it just gives you a lot of optimism beginning this year, knowing that they probably have a decent chance of picking up where they left off. Now, they're obviously going to have to figure out what life looks like after Ardarius Washington, right? Because for the meantime, he will be unavailable, having torn his Achilles. Brandon Stevens is no longer here. Who will be his replacement? Will that be Cheeto, or will it be a disappointment like Rock Yassin was a couple years ago? You hope that's not the case, but Tennessee got rid of him for a reason, and that was due to unavailability. So it just begs the question. Where I want to go first, though, is to me, Zach just raised the stakes for Mike Green. What do we know about Mike? Well, we know that he is an extremely decorated, accomplished college player and somebody that lit up the stat sheet last year. He led the FBS with 17 sacks. He ranked second with 22 and a half tackles for loss. He led his team with 3 forced fumbles. He started all 13 games. He recorded 84 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and was just utterly dominant. Second team AP All-American. He was a Sun Belt, I should say, Conference Defensive Player of the Year. First team All Sun Belt. I mean, the guy he just had a tremendous season. And prior to that, also production, productivity, disruptiveness. That's what he brought to his college teams. And so the Ravens obviously take a chance. As we all know, we've covered it time and time again since he was drafted in the second round, and we know why he dropped. But listen to Zach talk about not only what Mike brings to the table, but almost like, hey, I'm comfortable setting this kind of lofty expectation on Mike. Here's Zio.
Who comes out here and works, but from a physical standpoint, I mean, his get off is real, and he understands the level of the quarterback, man. So I think he's going to be a real valuable piece for us. He's strong, he's explosive, he can rush on the outside and he can rush on the inside. So one thing we always say, you can never have enough rushers, man, and he's going to add to that room, and it's going to be a great valuable piece for us. But I'm happy with Mike. I think that he's doing a good job with what he can do right now, given the restrictions with the pads and everything. But I think training camp and preseason, you guys really start to see, what abilities he really has.
You heard the man. Part of the quote, his get off is real and he understands the level of the quarterback. I think he's going to be a real valuable piece for us. He's strong. He's explosive. He can rush on the outside and inside. And ultimately, this is a defensive coordinator that's come forth with quite a bit of lofty praise, gushing really about his rookie prior to the pads coming on. And so while I think obviously expectations should be tempered realistically because there will be a rookie learning curve and there will be a summer training camp and a mandatory mini camp and other OTAs prior to both of those two things that he needs to endure and that he needs to work through and that he needs to respond well to in order for him to put this whole puzzle together over the course of the next couple of months and get himself to up to NFL speed, because obviously it goes without saying, the elephant in the room is you have to figure that out. And that sometimes is not often figured out right out of the gate. With that said, because of the comparisons to Abdul Carter, right? These two players, one goes right out of the gate off the top of the first round. The other, for off the field reasons, falls to the second round. If they ultimately are similar types of players from a talent perspective, and the Ravens really got this kind of player with this kind of upside at 59 and it ends up working out and none of the off the field stuff rear its ugly head, what a gamble. And what a gamble that will be not soon forgotten when it comes to Ravens pass rushers, homegrown pass rushers in this case, who they are absolutely trying to develop. Chuck Smith, you already know, he's fired up about the potential of having Mike Green, and he has him at his disposal. And, oh, by the way, it's no coincidence that since Chuck Smith showed up to Baltimore as the outside linebackers coach, they've been the top sack-getting team, and they've been the top 2 sack-getting team over the last couple years. And that's not to mention in 2023, the trifecta. We all remember that. Takeaways, sacks, points allowed. First team to lead from a defensive perspective in all 3 of those categories. That's what Chuck Smith's group did. And now Mike Green is about to join it. While we're on the topic of outside linebackers and edge rushers, and how this pass rush is going to be put together for the 2025 season, Odafe Oweh showed up 20 pounds heavier. And he told local reporters within the last week or so it's because of his nutrition. Guy's been eating nasty. Not the kind of nasty junk food that maybe comes to mind, but just straight up chicken, Brussels sprouts, protein, protein, protein. Maybe we're going to have to get him onto this Huel brand. Strawberry banana is my favorite, by the way. But Odafe, that's somebody that Zach Orr also had talked about.
He done it. He's another guy who came back, and he's always been in real good physical shape, man. But you can see he took it to another level. Like he's 20 pounds of muscle. I don't know how he did it, but I'm glad he did. But he's still fast. He's still got that fast, that twitchiness, and that explosiveness. So, this is a big year for Odafe. Like we don't shy away from it. We all know what it is. It's a contract year for him. We know his individual goals. We know he wants to get accomplished. We know his team goals. He wants to be a centerpiece to help us, reach the Super Bowl. So he's took that approach. I think it's going to do wonders for his game because tackles are already scared of his speed, and he has ability to power. But I think with 20 extra pounds, that's going to make his power even better. So I'm excited for Odafe, man, and I think he approached his situation the right way. In a contract year, and he's been here. He's been here even in phase 1 and phase 2, and he's out here practicing, working his butt off, and he continues that mindset and keep putting the work he's putting in. It's going to pay off for him.
I think the reality is when I take a look at the imminent future of the Ravens pass rush room and trying to put myself in Odafe's shoes, for example, I start here. He's coming off his first double-digit sack campaign. Bunch of pressures, wreaked a bunch of havoc. Really solid season for Odafe. And there's no question that he has continued to diversify his portfolio when it comes to his overall technique. I think Chuck Smith has been a big reason as to why he's had so much success in recent years. He's not just going to overwhelm you at this point with the athleticism and the speed that Zach mentioned there off the charts that he used to really be kind of a one-trick pony with back earlier on in his career. No, now he can do a little bit of everything. Now he can bull rush you. Now he can show you that kind of speed, that technique, that savvy, extra diversified technique that ultimately has served him well. What I expect to happen here, and it would follow a trend that Sarah and I covered within the last week or so, is if Odafe puts forth another statistical, impactful, solidly dominant season, like I think a lot of us expect him to in 2025, he's probably going to get paid handsomely by another team. And in that scenario, maybe, just maybe, Mike Green puts forth a rookie campaign where the Ravens feel comfortable in allowing Odafe to walk. It wouldn't surprise me if that was sort of within their thinking, right? The way that they were envisioning this happening. Odafe's entering a contract year. We know that if, again, he goes back-to-back seasons of double-digit sack campaigns, he's going to be a coveted piece in free agency. And yeah, Smitty is referencing what we discussed last week, which was the Zadarius Smiths of the world, the Matthew Judons. There are others as well. We had a whole full list of it. Wasn't it as far back as Kruger? But anyway, they all represented the same thing. Sort of late blooming guys, right? That were drafted by the Ravens and come contract year balled out. But the Ravens were like, we're just going to go retool through the draft rather than allocate this kind of money that the market's commanding right now for that position. So if I'm a betting man, I think Odafe does put forth one heck of a contract season in 2025. I think he does one-up himself from a year ago. I have him around that 12 sack number, which means that he will be paid handsomely. And I don't think it's going to be by the Ravens. And if it's not by the Ravens, and if that theory ends up coming to fruition, I think in part it will be due to Mike Green's emergence. And so while earlier on I kind of called for the tempering of expectations for a rookie, I also think that they're going to let this dude run rampant. And listening to his defensive coordinator during the second session of OTAs prior to the pads coming on, referring to him as a valuable piece, begs the question, how much of Mike Green are we going to see right away? And will he have a leash whatsoever on this guy? Remains to be seen, but I am highly, highly curious about it. All right, down to the next level we go, level 2. The middle and inside linebackers, we all remember last year. Trenton Simpson really got the keys to the car in a lot of ways. Patrick Queen leaves in free agency. Not telling you guys anything you don't already know, just trying to kind of refresh all of our memory. PQ goes to Pittsburgh. Trenton Simpson, after really being primarily a special teams guy, his rookie season, gets the keys to the car and gets the opportunity to start from the jump. Well, a month later, he is demoted. And it wasn't just demoted, he was benched. And all of a sudden, the Ravens are in a position because of the issues in that middle part and what it did for the underneath pass coverage assignments, what it did to the overall communication from level 1 all the way down to the back end. They were forced. They had no other option but to turn to a rotation of players alongside Roquan Smith, who were no longer in Baltimore. They both left in free agency, Chris Board and Malik Harrison. And for Trenton, I think the overall takeaway that I'm left with coming off last year for him is the fact that he just wasn't processing at the level that he needed to be a mainstay alongside Roquan. And that inability to process effectively not only led to perhaps overthinking, but overdoing it at times. And then there's the trickle-down effect. It affects your running mate who tries to do too much and overcompensate in Roquan. And then, of course, it affects level 3 on the back end. So why am I kind of on this tangent or pontificating about Trenton Simpson? It's a big year for him. He's got a lot to prove. And oh, by the way, the Ravens just went ahead and drafted Teddy Buchanan, a very capable, high-flying, sideline-to-sideline freak of an athlete out of Cal. And I've been on record for saying I think there's going to be some competition there. While perhaps on paper, it's Trenton's job to lose, that's just on paper. And we haven't even gotten a mandatory minicamp yet. With all of that said, Zach is doing what you would expect a defensive coordinator to do at this point in the process, and that's building up his player. Listen to this.
Man, this is the most confident that I've seen Trent, man, and he's a lot more relaxed before the play. I hear him talking. This is the most I've heard him communicate on the field, so I'm excited, man. We're excited about him. I think Tooch has done a great job. Tyler Santucci, our linebacker, has done a great job with him thus far, and he's done a great job out here, man. So he's actually turning into one of our most vocal guys. So the only way we say you can be confident in speaking is if you're confident in knowing what you're doing. So obviously he's confident in what he's doing, and he's doing a heck of a job. So I'm excited to see him to continue to trend upwards for us.
All right, so he's vocal and the most confident he's ever seen, which you would think that that's the natural progression, right? He understands this system now. He understands the scheme. He understands what's in front of him. He understands how to handle himself at this point in the offseason. I really don't know what else to add on to there, and aside from, hey, we got to see what he's all about. And we got to see the strides that he has made this offseason. And there's going to be, I kind of love the idea of bringing in, whether the Ravens feel like Teddy Buchanan is legitimate competition for Trenton Simpson or not. The fact that his presence is there, to me, that's what negatives can come from that. It almost leads and gives Trenton a little bit of a sense of urgency. Not that he needs it, but I like that. Competition breeds excellence, and Teddy Buchanan is somebody that Zio is very high on.
He's like a Raven. His college film, he flies around and he seeks contact. He can play in space. and he's a smart player. I mean, you talk about a guy who came from a smaller school, dominated that, then made a one-year jump, got there kind of like during the middle of the summer, and dominated in the ACC at a big school. So I'm excited about Teddy. We throwing a lot of his plays. He's playing both positions for us, Mike, Will, and Dime, and he's done a good job going out there so far.
All right. Mike, Will, and Dime showing some versatility early on is Teddy Buchanan. Again, a player that was highly, highly touted coming out of Cal. High IQ, sideline to sideline kind of speed. And now you bring him into the system and, hey, all systems go is really what it comes down to. They need to shore up the player alongside Roquan Smith. They cannot afford to be looking at 0-2 again through 2 weeks the way that they were last year after dropping that rematch game, of course, on primetime opening night to Kansas City and then kind of dragging into the home opener against Vegas. You can't allow that to happen. While you still go on to win the division, that had an impact on seeding, major implications really on the weeks that followed the first two. So I'll be watching that. If I sure, we can talk about the left guard battle if there is one to be had. I still think that it's Andrew Voorhees' job to lose. But if I'm most compelled, what do I think is the most compelling matchup or battle or circumstance to kind of observe from afar throughout this offseason, particularly when the pads come out? It's probably inside linebacker. I want to see how Trenton Simpson responds, and I want to see what Teddy Buchanan's all about. There'll be other things to watch as well, like the end of the wide receiver room. Who's going to win that? The secondary, will Jalen Armour-Davis sneak his way on the 53, even though they drafted a slew of corners, defensive backs? So I'll be very curious. Malachi Starks, by the way, is where we're headed next, and the impact that Kyle Hamilton is having on their first-round rookie out of Georgia. But before we get there, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Huel. And again, I'm going a mile a minute up here. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, to be honest with you. Metabolic meltdown is something that I've been working out in at 6 a.m. since I got back up here. Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Incredible workout. I walked out dripping today. And it's a humid, hot day here in upstate New York. This is the kind of recovery and replenishment that I need. And I think Huel is giving me exactly that. I want to show you their site. If you click on the link that's included in the show notes, and by the way, Sarah and I are thrilled to be with Huel. They reached out to us a short while ago here and had interest in the channel, and we were thrilled to be partnering with them. If you're constantly on the move, or perhaps just tired of skipping meals, Huel, it's a great place to go. They've got you covered. They are today's sponsor. It's spelled Huel. You can hit them up on Instagram. I'll show you their profile in just a bit. And what you're looking at on the screen right now is their Black Edition ready to drink. It's a game changer. It's a complete meal in one bottle. 35 grams of protein. You better be working out. 27 vitamins and minerals. High fiber, low sugar, full, focused, and ready for your day is how you're feeling as you finish up one of these. No prep, no cleanup. Just grab and go. They've already sold over 500 million meals around the world. Now it's your turn to try it. If you are interested in doing so, new customers get 15% off plus a free gift. Just click on that link. Again, it's in the pinned comment right now in the live chat. There's also a link that's at the top of the show notes. Use our code VAULT. Pretty simple. VAULT. Don't miss it out. Give it a shot. That's 15% plus a free gift for new customers using our exclusive code VAULT at Huel.com. Check out the video description just below for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition, which is bottled. I highly recommend strawberry banana. I'm not going to do the iced coffee, but some of you might enjoy it. You already know I'm not doing the iced coffee, let's be honest. Chocolate flavors out there as well for those of you who are chocolate lovers. And if you want to connect with them on Instagram, you can do so by hitting them up right here. Pretty simple. Huel, Huel. Good stuff. Sarah and I just got an entire case delivered within the last week or so. Hers is probably literally sitting on her front porch in Columbus because she's in Switzerland. And the rest of her family is not currently home at this moment. So thanks to Huel. We appreciate you. You can also scan the QR code that's currently in the right-hand corner if you're interested in learning more. All righty. With that, let's talk Malachi. And let's talk his new running mate, Kyle Hamilton. Both former first rounders. Kyle, you got to go back to 2022 out of Notre Dame. Malachi, of course, just this past April, having been selected 27th overall out of Georgia. Zio was asked about the duo and specifically how the vet is helping out the rook.
That could change week by week, man. But I think the vision ultimately is be ball hawks and be ball control back there, man. Great communicators, great leaders. Get us right, get us in and out of the right calls. Nothing over our heads, and then make plays back there. I think last week when K-Ham was here with Malachi, it was great to see those guys kind of start building that chemistry. And I already seen the impact that K-Ham has had on Malachi with his communication, his knowledge, and just his football savvy. And so Malachi's picking that up. I got a great vision for those guys. I think they're going to help us out and play great football for us.
I'm sure. How can you not have a vision for those two players? And Kyle has a similar impact to the defense that Lamar, maybe not to Lamar's level, but that Lamar has to the offense. He makes others better around him, right? He makes others around him better. And I suspect that'll be the case this upcoming season for Malachi. He's drinking from the fire hose right now. The last time we heard of him or about him was from John Harbaugh a couple weeks ago, where he said, look, he has yet to make a mistake, but he's not yet flashing, meaning he's got a lot on his plate right now in the aftermath of Ardarius going down. And really, he is a shoo-in starter this upcoming season come week 1, barring something unforeseen. I would suspect that they're going to bring in a veteran like they did this time last year with Eddie Jackson at the safety position, or maybe a little bit of a tease, what we have coming up in quick hits later on, maybe, just maybe, Jalen Armour-Davis is somebody who can transition, because apparently there's talks about giving him looks at safety. He was a drafted corner. He's been very unavailable over his first several years in Baltimore, and he is coming towards the end of his rookie deal. Bottom line is Kyle Hamilton's presence obviously is significant, particularly for a rookie who's trying to get his legs from underneath him in Malachi Starks. I suspect that Kyle will be a big help in that regard. Sticking with the secondary, Nate Wiggins, another guy who beefed up a little bit this offseason, coming off a tremendous rookie year campaign, still being overlooked perhaps by some that are outside of the daily commitment or year-round commitment that we all have and love with covering and following and watching this team step by step. But Zio, baby, he's speaking up kind of highly and building up a lot of his players here, which, again, I think is just par for the course for this time of year. But listen to what he had to say about Nate Wiggins, second-year player out of Clemson.
Nate did a great job going to work this offseason, man, putting weight on, man. That's a testament to him and the strength coaches coming up with a great plan, and obviously he followed it. The weight is real, so that's good to see. But what I see him focusing on now, man, he's more locked in on his fundamentals and technique on a more consistent basis. Like last year, I felt like he got to that point towards the middle, end of the season. But last year, he was just running with like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to figure out what to do. Now he understands the system. He understands the defense. He's been in the league 4 years. He understands formations from offenses. So now he can really just hone in on his technique, man. And that guy right there, he take his technique to another level on a consistent basis. The sky's the limit for him.
Technique, that's exactly what he told the Lounge recently in an interview that he did with the Ravens official team podcast. And he also mentioned that he's got big goals. Guy wants 10 turnovers. I mean, that'd be flirting with all-pro. Actually, that would probably be comfortably in all-pro territory. For Nate, the only thing that I can think of that may have held him back in a sense last year was just sort of those rookie moments, right? Just some of those, not IQ failures at all. It's more like the emotional intelligence that comes with adapting to the NFL level and responding to little mistakes, responding to little pieces of adversity. One thing you're guaranteed to have with Nate is a next level, out of this world kind of speed, a fearlessness and stickiness with his coverage, and somebody that I think does have a short memory out there at the cornerback position, which you have to have. And obviously, between the lines, the guy's a certifiable dog. You don't necessarily see that through his interviews, but as soon as he steps on that gridiron, good night. It's on. And so while he's another player that came in with knocks on him in terms of his figure, his stature, right? His slender stature. Let's take a look at the photos. He and Odafe Owe both look to have been on that same kind of regiment, nutrition-wise, this offseason. And hopefully it pays dividends for both of those players. Thank you guys for being with me on this Friday. We'll see if the gift giving begins, being that it is Bobby Greed that typically shows up on Friday. Kidding. Super chats. Let's get caught up. Manuel's COD channel throws in $100 Mexican currency. What's the exchange rate on that? Manny says, bet paid. I'm a man of my word, Bobby. Not like those trolls that don't go and debate you on the guest lines. I love that. But we're still thrashing A-Rod in the North. Hashtag Kings of the North. Hashtag Big Truz. Manny and I had a little friendly wager, which he is now holding up his end of the bargain on regarding Aaron Rodgers, which we will discuss before all is said and done on this live stream. And what we basically had was I felt like Aaron was going to be a Steeler, like a lot of people. And Manny thought that he was going to pursue retirement, which after the McAfee interview from earlier this offseason, I think Manny was feeling pretty darn confident about this bet because Aaron Rodgers looked like a guy that would have been pretty content to hang it up. And he was talking like a guy that might have been content to do so. But he's now joining the AFC North, and the Ravens will be facing off with him and against him at least twice over the next year. 2 regular season games down the latter half of the schedule, and I look forward to that. You already know I look forward to those matchups. It's going to be exceptional, and it's just what the rivalry needs. Appreciate you, Manny. Chase writes, I want a weighted manta I wanted a weighted manta mask, but they won't ship to Hawaii. No way. Really? So right now, Chase, we do not have an active partnership with Manta. I believe we're re-upping with them by the start of the season. But I would love to look into that for you. And if you're coming to the Baltimore area at all for football season, let me know. Because I feel like we can make something happen. And my sleep continues to be rock solid and next level because of Manta. So I'd like for you to experience the same. Our guy Richard Asmodeus Thanatos is celebrating 3 months of channel membership as an official Voltron. Appreciate you, Richard. And he writes, this is a sponsor that I can get behind. I love protein shakes, and I've heard of this brand. He's talking about Huel. Strawberry banana. That's a go-to for me. Iced coffee, chocolate. I think they gave me like 16 of them, 12 or 16. They come in cases. Go check them out. Click the link in the show notes. You guys know the drill, and I think you heard the deal at the top. If you didn't, it's 15% off. 15%. Plus a free gift for new customers. So go check it out. Using our code VAULT, of course. Of course. Teal, at the moment, without Sarah's Twitter, over 600 concurrents. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content. OJ Pimpson says he's going to leave a super chat if I drink this. I've been drinking it all day. It's already half gone. Strawberry banana, nutritionally complete, ready-to-drink meal. 27 vitamins and minerals, 35 grams of protein. It's plant-based, 6 grams of fiber, non-GMO. Telling you, the recovery. OJ, line them up. Line them up. Thanks again to Huel for all the opportunities here. Thank you guys for being here. Sarah is on vacation, as you probably know by now. And I will be with you again coming up next week. There's more OTAs to get into as well. And press conferences will finish or start as soon as we finish the show here, unless we go nuts on one more thing. And OJ, a man of his word, he wanted me to drink that sucker, and I did because I have been all morning. And he calls me a real run, Babito. That makes me think of Chupito, which is a Spanish shot. And there is a bar, a famous one, in Barcelona called Chupitos. True story. Appreciate you, OJ. You're the guy. Well, I think probably by now you know that Rashod Bateman made history, becoming the first Ravens homegrown wide receiver to be awarded a third contract extension. Multiple contracts. I guess technically a second contract extension because it was his rookie deal, last year's contract extension, team friendly, and this year's, meaning this week's contract extension that was just announced that keeps Rashod Bateman after a career season in Baltimore through the 2029 year. And it's something that he spoke about during his press conference not long after the news was announced yesterday.
Two parties kind of met. We kind of been negotiating since the end of the season, and it was something that both parties wanted to do, and it just made sense for both of us, and we worked it out. So I'm happy to be here, blessed and fortunate. So keep chasing the Super Bowl.
Keep chasing the Super Bowl. He will. He's part of this core, right? This core that's fallen a little bit short in recent years. But now Rashod, coming off a season where he put forth over 700 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns, over 40 receptions, somebody that was impactful and available all throughout the season and into the postseason prior to that last game where he went down. He gets awarded. The Ravens do right by Rashod Bateman. And you already know that he was feeling it and feeling the emotions of the moment. His Instagram story and a Twitter post is what you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. And for the audio-only audience, I'll read it for you word by word. Rashod wrote, "Feeling incredibly grateful today. Baltimore believed in me from the start, and this extension means a lot. I want to thank Mr. Bisciotti, Eric DaCosta, and Coach Harbaugh and the entire coaching staff for their trust and support. It's been a journey of growth on and off the field. To my teammates, thank you for pushing me, holding me down, and making this locker room feel like home. The relationships I've built here mean everything. I've learned a lot, matured, and grown as both a player and a person. This city has shaped me in ways I'll never forget. Excited for what's ahead. Let's get to work. Batman. That emotional message from Rashod Bateman after he was awarded a multi-year contract extension that, again, keeps him in Baltimore for the long haul. And somebody that was big time last year when you look at the numbers from an explosiveness standpoint. I mean, again, this was a player that his previous 3 years had combined for 4 total touchdowns. He put up 9 last year, 17 games, a clean bill of health, something that has plagued him throughout his previous 3 years. 16.8 yards per reception, 45 receptions on 72 targets. Saying and doing all the right things when there's a microphone in front of him. Got to be happy for this guy right now. I know I am. I've been a doubter over the years. Not a hater, a doubter. I had somebody tweet at me yesterday when I was kind of chronicling Rashod's last 4 years or so. He's like, "Bobby, you owe him an apology." For what? What do I owe him an apology for? I've been rooting against the guy. I've had my doubts. I think a lot of you have had your doubts, deservedly so. But now that he's on the other side and he's withstood these punches, he's stayed in the fight. Man, hard to find somebody that is more deserving than Rashod Bateman of this extension, and I commend the Ravens for doing right by their homegrown player. There's only good things that can come from this, including a little added motivation moving forward, and that is exactly what Rashod Bateman talked about yesterday, not long after this news was announced with Fox 45's Morgan Adsit.
Can you let yourself enjoy that more of the season you had, the production you had throughout all the injuries and adversity you had leading up to last year?
No, I mean, somebody asked me that, but it's kind of hard. I do feel like I'm on a revenge tour. I kind of want to get the years back that I had and plus some. So the mindset that I have, I've been trying to enjoy where we were last year, but the way things ended, it's hard to focus on what I've done. I kind of want to be more for this team and whatever that looks like, and just be prepared, to eventually get to the Super Bowl.
Did you guys catch what I caught there? Revenge tour. That's what he told Morgan Adsit. It feels like a revenge tour. That's courtesy again of Fox 45. And as we chronicled recently, after this news was released, I think it probably warrants repeat. Rashod signed a very modest, very team-friendly extension last year to the tune of a 2-year, $12.8 million deal. Okay. That was a direct result of not even being eligible for the 5th-year option. Remember that? He didn't accrue a credited season in 2023 because last year's training camp, he was on the did not report list. That triggered the non-credited season. A major gaffe by his representation, which led him to changing representation. 2023, they go ahead and draft a first-round wide receiver in Zay Flowers. They bring in Odell Beckham Jr. He can't stay on the field, Ken Rashod. It's injury after injury, whether it's the Liz Frank that lingered, whether it was the groin his rookie year, you name it. That led to some off-field frustrations boiling over on social media. Eric DeCosta's comments triggering him. We all kind of know the roller coaster ride that Rashod Bateman has taken us on. But for him to now be on the other side, and for that to be such an afterthought, and for him to be hitting his stride right now, it just makes so much sense for this extension to come down the pike now. It includes $16.5 million guaranteed, an $8 million signing bonus. And yes, he's now under contract through the 2029 season. Big congrats are in order for Rashod Bateman. And that's not all he discussed yesterday at the podium. He was a little caught off guard by last year's extension. That was not the case this year.
Two parties kind of met. We kind of been negotiating since the end of the season, and it was something that both parties wanted to do, and it just made sense for both of us, and we worked it out. So I'm happy to be here, blessed and fortunate. So keep chasing the Super Bowl.
A surprise this year than last year.
Less of a surprise this year. This year it made sense to me for sure, most definitely.
Why did it make sense to you?
Because I feel like I finally did something on the field that was impressive and something that you can respect and stand on. Before that, it was a little bit shocking. I had some ups and downs here and there, so to be able to be here now, it feels good. You know what I'm saying?
And what about the validation that comes with it too, right? In a sense, Rashod took a little bit of a victory lap yesterday. Watch this.
I can play ball, and it's like everybody knows that now, and I'm not here to prove that to nobody. I want to prove that to my teammates, and I work for the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? I work for Lamar Jackson technically, and if these guys are pleased with with what I'm doing and my work ethic and all of that, then I feel like as a team, that's what's important to me. So. I've done that, and I'm definitely looking to continue to build off of that for sure.
And where things are at with he in the front office at this point?
Trust from between player and organization that, look, if I outperform a contract that even if I just signed it, if I outperform that, this organization is going to take care of me in the long run.
That's what you would want them to do, but it doesn't guarantee anything. I got a good relationship with DeCosta, and I think they helped as well. They respect how I work, how I come in the building, and my teammates do. And I think that's why I'm still here. I hope so. not just about, you know, what I do on the football field. So I'm definitely hoping to continue that mindset and that work ethic to continue to prove to them coaches that I'm worthy.
And one more, full circle.
I think for me, it hits different when, you know, it's a receiver here. Well, we all know the perspective here, and you know, we've been through a lot. We go through a lot. We continue to go through a lot. You know, when it comes to facing backlash here and there or wherever it may be. But it definitely, you know, I'll just say it means a lot. You know, to be able to start something new here. You know, something fresh when it comes to the receiving room, and you know, hopefully we continue to, you know, make plays and, you know, change the narrative of what we have here.
Sounds to me like a player who is very aware of some of the shortcomings and the historical shortcomings at the position that he plays, at the organization that he is an employee of. And he wants to shift that narrative. He wants to change things around. And it sure seems like he and Zay Flowers have a pretty darn good chance to do exactly that moving forward. And then we'll see if the LeJontay Westers, the Devontae Walkers, right, so on and so forth, can continue that kind of trend, that lineage that has been started in recent years. Homegrown Ravens wide receivers, right? Rashod, as I mentioned at the top, is the first homegrown Ravens wide receiver to receive multiple extensions. And while last year's was more of like, hey, we're just going to kind of give you a shot here, right? Because that was so team friendly that in a lot of ways, if you're Rashod, you're thinking to yourself, man, I can't believe how things have fallen to this sense. I'm a former first round pick, and my first extension is a $12 million deal. Could be a tough pill to swallow. That could be tough to overcome, not get swallowed up by the narrative that's attached to that. But instead, the dude just put his head down, trusted in himself, trusted in Lamar, trusted in the organization. And now a year later, it's certainly worked out in his and the team's favor. And that's probably the best part about this deal. While Rashod, should he put forth another statistical season and even go north of what he did and go into the 800-900 category this upcoming season, he's going to be looked at and continue to be looked at as a bargain. But the Ravens have done right by him, and they awarded him what he earned, what he was offered. As the press conference and John Harbaugh gets started just as we speak. Are we fully caught up on Super Chats? We are. It's been a light day so far in terms of gift giving and Super Chats. So if you have any comments, hit me with them, and I will display them up on the screen as they come in. This came in yesterday, and it's Aaron Rodgers and his plans to sign with the Steelers, which is now official. Pittsburgh and A-Rod have agreed to terms on a 1-year contract. The 4-time MVP is 41. And he's somebody that will now be quarterbacking the AFC North team known as the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that means, should he stay healthy, the Ravens and Steelers will match up, and Lamar and Aaron will match up for the first time on Sunday, December 7th. That is week 14. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, and they will then turn around a little over a month later and play Pittsburgh again on the road, week 18. There's a TBD flex game label attached to this because obviously they got to figure out how things are going to play out down the stretch of the NFL season. But it's very backloaded with AFC North competition. Really starting in week 13. You go Cincy, Pittsburgh, Cincy. That's week 13 through 15. Whew. And then you finish up with Pittsburgh. That's a rough go of it to finish off the regular season, just in terms of the challenges that come with in-division competition. But yeah, that's what's happening. And according to Adam Schefter, the Steelers never wavered in their belief that Aaron eventually would sign with them. Mike Tomlin loomed large in this entire situation. Tomlin was a drawing card for Rodgers and was happy to work with Rodgers' timeline. He is a major reason that Rodgers will be a Steeler. That from Schefter. I want to be clear here. I don't think that this is a huge threat to the Ravens' chances of winning the division. I do think that Pittsburgh and Baltimore will split the regular season series, and I do think that the Steelers just got better. Yes, he is 41. Yes, he is 2 years removed, less than that, from a serious Achilles tear. And yes, he did not play his best football in his 2-year stint, which was really a season, with the New York Jets. And last year, in a lot of ways, was a lost season because it took him a while to get his football legs back from underneath him. I do think that this is a player that is an upgrade from what they previously had at the quarterback room in Mason Rudolph, and I do still think that he has some left in the tank. Do I think it's enough to get more than 10 wins in Pittsburgh? That's a little rich for me. I have this team as 10-7, 9-8, hovering around that. I got the Ravens at 12-5, and that'll take the division. That's what I'm going with. Let me know what you think. Other news and notes, and this comes from Jeff Zaribek of The Athletic. The Ravens have mostly been rotating days for their 2 rookie kickers. And obviously they're looking to officially replace Justin Tucker, who is now no longer with the organization. John Hoyland, the undrafted rookie, they've been rotating. Again, there's been rotating kickers. John Hoyland had yesterday. He struggled early in practice. He went 3 of 6, making from 42, 39, and 46, but missing from long distance, 56, 51, and 49. So as we watch this kicking competition, which again is Tyler Loop's job to lose, just some things to keep in mind. John Hoyland, undrafted rookie, struggling this week. It's tough when it happens in practice as well. Jeff's latest on The Athletic, I encourage you to go check it out. He's got great little tidbits in there every single day this time of year. I'll read them direct, word for word. Temperatures for Thursday's practice were in the mid-80s. Daniel Fa'alele was bothered by the heat. This is an annual fight at this time of year for him. He's 6'8", 380, as we know. He has improved his conditioning significantly since his rookie season in 22, but he typically struggles to get through practices when the heat and humidity rise. Fa'alele staggered toward the sideline on a few occasions Thursday to take a knee and garner attention from the team's athletic training staff. Not great for the big fella's conditioning, who, of course, remember, what did John Harbaugh say? He had some physical things during the first OTA session. So this is a little bit of a trend, as Jeff notes, and that'll be something to watch. What about Ruben Lowry, undrafted free agent corner? He delivered the play of the day in Thursday's workout. He's a rookie from Tennessee, Chattanooga, and he deflected a Devin Leary pass intended for Tylan Wallace in the end zone. Lowry then dove backward to make the interception. It was an erratic day for Leary, who drew the ire of veteran wide receiver Anthony Miller at one point of practice for an underthrown ball. Observations from Jeff's vantage point. Zach Orr confirmed Thursday, this is what I mentioned earlier on, that the Ravens are getting cornerback Jalen Armour-Davis some looks at safety. He's a fourth-year pro who has struggled to stay healthy throughout his young career. He figures to enter training camp on the roster bubble after the Ravens drafted Bilal Cohn and Robert Longerbeam on day 3. And again, I was kind of mentioning that earlier on. Can JAD sneak his way in and sort of show that he can be last year's Eddie Jackson and insurance at the safety position, because that is an area of need? That remains to be seen. But he's getting looks. Wish the best for the guy, man. He just has not been available. He's a former 4th rounder, as was Pepe Williams back in the 22 draft. Earlier this week, Derrick Henry sat down with Dan Patrick, as he does here and there, and told him that he liked his green sweatshirt. Well, it was Happy Gilmore 2, a sweatshirt that Dan Patrick was wearing on the air. And apparently, DP and Adam Sandler are boys to the point where they are texting. They're on a texting basis. And so Derrick's like, hey, can you just tell him next time that I'm a huge fan? I would love to meet him someday. Dan's like, I'll even go farther than that. Let's throw a little bet here. If you get 2,000 yards, I'll get you in a Adam Sandler movie. And Derrick's eyes lit up and he was like, oh, bet. Like, absolutely. Let's do it. Well, Dan Patrick holding true to his word. Derrick still got to hold up his end of the bargain and get those 2,000 rushing yards this upcoming season. He missed it by 79 last year, 1,921. But Dan Patrick following up. Pretty dope. Super cool. Look at the king. Kid in the candy store.
Hey, Sandman, it's Danny. We just had Derrick Henry on, and I made some promises. I said if he rushed for 2,000 yards this season that we would put him in a Sandler movie. No pressure. And he said that he's a big fan. I want to know if you could do a video and just say congratulations and whatever. Just you be you. And I'm going to pass it on to him. But he's a huge fan. He saw my hoodie that I have that has the Happy Gilmore 2 on it. And so he was very excited. But if you can do that this morning, that would be great. I'm doing the show until noon Eastern. And then I'll wait to hear from you.
Damn, that's my dog.
Ross? There he is. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, Derrick, I just woke up. You know that. That's why I look disgusting, on top of the fact that I am disgusting. But I love you. Congrats on everything, baby. 2,000 yards plus this year gets you not only in the movie, but we have a nice dinner together and talk about Dan Patrick's facial hair and how hard it is for him to grow it. I love you. Keep it up. This guy says hello.
Oh, that's what's up.
Apparently he's itchy this morning. He's scratching himself on the wall. I'm in a hotel right now. I'm sure you've been in a few. Okay. Love you, buddy. Take care. Again, sorry for the disgusting face. Woohoo!
That's my dog, man. You gotta send me that, man.
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
I appreciate that, man. Hell yeah, that's cool.
I got that done.
And then Derrick Henry sent me a direct message to thank me for hooking him up with Adam Sandler. So Sandler had his bulldog with him. Here's the direct message that, Dan, thank you. Sending the message in the video. That was really cool. Much love, Derrick Henry. But Sandman has his bulldog there walking along the hallway in this hotel, scratching himself.
The dog's walking along, walking along the wall, scratching them as they're going.
Derrick Henry, Fritzy, is telling me was with us on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Sandman recorded the video, got it to Derrick, and then we wanted to record his reaction to Sandman offering up a movie role in, who knows, might be Grown Ups 3 or Happy Gilmore 3. Who knows?
That's awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Sandman.
Can you imagine after Lamar makes his debut as an actor this offseason, right? Like Derrick follows that up with a 2,000-yard rushing season and then finds his way in as a cast member of a future Adam Sandler movie. That would be like insane. And apparently to Derrick, that would be life-changing. Did you see his face? Did you see like this guy's demeanor was literally as if it was a kid in the candy store kind of happiness, which is so funny because Derrick is so stoic and so often monotone during his press conferences. So some fun back and forth there. Adam Sandler, one of the GOATs. I mean, come on. Waterboy is legendary. Happy Gilmore is just, come on. It takes on a life of its own. And we could go on and on and on. Billy Madison, that goes back to like the 90s. I should pull up a list of all the ones that I love. Click. I freaking love Click. Click is hilarious. Big Daddy. Oh my gosh. Let me just clear my throat. It's just such a random off-season like piece of content that I wouldn't have expected to be covering at all. At all. More super chats and more quick hits as well. And we'll see if the gift giving run takes place. I just realized that Park Heights Prophet is not here today, which could very well be one of the reasons for sort of a quiet day, which is fine. But I do wonder if there's going to be a new Park Heights Prophet that emerges. I do wonder. Chuck Lund has gifted us our first channel membership of the day, or gifted you a channel membership. That's really what it comes down to. So let us know who's on the receiving end. Appreciate you for being here, Chuck. Asmodeus says, I think Rashod was probably more thankful. If I were Rashod, I would have had panic attacks that my career was already over due to how many injuries I had. Yeah, honestly, like the between the ears mental gymnastics that I'm sure it took for him to endure what he did through his first 2 years, 3 years, really. Just to have them then go draft another wide receiver in the first round and bring in Odell, and then have that gaffe, that total disconnect with his agent, totally making him ineligible for the fifth-year option. I mean, it was just one after the other, and he dealt with loss and issues personally off the field. Oh, that's why it's such a cause for celebration, because it's a player that, as he said, has matured, has grown, and ultimately is now on the other side and is coming off a breakout performance and a clean bill of health, most importantly, throughout the course of the 2025 season in its entirety, including the postseason, right up until the very end. Yvette Biggs is checking in, and she writes, I am going to need multiple stops in the air this year from the Ravens. Hashtag Voltrons, happy Friday. So if Pittsburgh does bad, Tomlin is out. She wants Mike Tomlin gone. I got to think that if they don't make the playoffs, or if they're a one and done, his seat keeps getting hotter and hotter as the years go on. You would think. Or maybe it's just when he wants to leave. He's got that kind of flexibility in Steelers country. Don't know. Hasn't made a playoff. Hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. Sod Blitz 34 says, missed the whole damn show. Have to catch it later. Hope you do, Sod. There's some good stuff there in the beginning on what Zach Orr had to say regarding his rookie Mike Green. Rashod Bateman opened up about a number of things, including a revenge tour. Oh, look out. God King says, how do you think we stand at O-line? Pretty darn good. Your bookend tackles are taken care of for the next 3 years, and Ronnie Stanley and Roger Rosengarten, one of whom is on a rookie contract in Roger. You've got Tyler Linderbaum, who's your centerpiece. Yeah, he's somebody that you're going to want to lock down long term, you would think. I would think that's on their priority list. Right guard, especially with Daniel's conditioning issues so far to start this year without the pads having come into the play here, is a little bit concerning. But the way that he held up last year leads you to believe that he's capable of doing so again. I do think that Ben Cleveland would be the better option, but clearly that's not in the cards, you would think. And then left guard, I'm going with Andrew Voorhees until somebody says or something is pushing me to say otherwise. So really, I think that they're in darn good shape. And they've got depth at that position as well. Ben Cleveland is one of those players. They went in and signed Joe Noteboom as sort of one of their veteran, insurances. If Emory Jones Jr. can get himself back from that shoulder injury, he was their day 2 pick. He's somebody that I think has a decent amount of upside, but he's just trying to get back from that shoulder. And they brought in a couple other rookies as well, including Carson Vincent and Garrett Dellinger. So, and I think you would think they're both making the team. And they got some other veterans out there as well that probably won't make the 53. But all things considered, for essentially overhauling that unit a year ago, they're in pretty good shape. Another super chat from God King. You think the King is going to get in the movie? Oh, they're not doing this publicity just to totally bone the King if he gets 2,000 rushing yards. He goes and gets that number, which I said earlier this week that I don't feel like is going to materialize solely based on usage. But should it happen, and should I be wrong, you're darn right they're going to follow up. the King's not going to allow that to go below the wayside. Not a chance. C King, what's going on, C King? Where you been lately? It's good to see you. Good to hear from you. He writes, Mike Green is going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversations. Woo-hoo. Big lofty ambitions. Why not, right? If he gets the opportunity to. If that NFL transition is as seamless as so many expect it to be, maybe, just maybe. Tim Hughes says, hey, Bobby, want to do a watch party in Bama this year at some point. We are trying to get it organized. A watch party in Bama? For what, a game? Just like a game, Tim? Let me know. That's cool. I've never been to Alabama. What I Say Junior says, anybody going to the Minnesota game? If you are, consider going with Be More Around Town. BeMoreAroundTown.com. They do great road trips, great pregame shows. Awesome going on the road with them. C King says, Keaton just said he hit 22.4 miles an hour last week. He is back. And he also just mentioned that he wants to be the Ravens' primary kick returner this year. Keaton Mitchell is at the podium, our guy right now, saying he wants to be the Ravens' primary kick returner this year. John Gruden has spent the last couple days in Baltimore visiting. And he also did a study of the team. John Harbaugh talked about that a short while ago. I think it's only a matter of time when, not if, John Gruden gets another opportunity to be a head coach. But he's been in Baltimore the last couple of days and offered some feedback from a game planning perspective. Super Bowl winning head coach. John Harbaugh said that Tyler Loop made all of his field goal attempts today. So it was John Hoyland struggling yesterday, the undrafted rookie in this competition. Tyler Loop was perfect today. And he also hit a 60-yarder. Tyler Loop. Yes, it's practice. Yes, there are no pads. But Tyler Loop is drilling field goals from 60 yards. His job to lose. Nate Wiggins, that transformation that I discussed earlier on in the show, 10 pounds. He's up to 185 pounds. This is from the beat reporter community that I'm sharing here. Lamar Jackson, not attending OTAs this week. Not a surprise, given his recent activity and the way that he spends his offseason. And it's not a surprise that a lot of vets are not attending OTAs this week. There's more sessions coming up tomorrow as well, or I should say next week. John Harbaugh on Lamar, not in attendance. Quote, I'm not measuring it. It's a voluntary camp. He's my guy. I love him. Nothing else really needs to be said. Birthday celebrations are in order for DeAndre Hopkins, who turned 33 today. D-Hop has been around this league for a long time. He was a first-round pick back in 2013 out of Clemson by Houston. That's where he spent the majority of the beginning of his career. Then he went on to Arizona, then Tennessee the last couple of years. Traded in season at the deadline to Kansas City last year. And now he is chasing a Super Bowl with the Ravens. 3-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, led the league in receiving touchdowns in 2017. He's got over 980 career receptions, over 12,900 receiving yards, which is the most of any active player, and over 80 receiving touchdowns. A future Hall of Famer, a contested catch-winning threat, a 50-50 ball-winning guy, and now somebody that is in the Ravens wide receiver room as wide receiver 3 for my money. And let's see what he's got left in the tank. Tim Hughes says, yeah, a game watch party if we can get it organized. I got a theater at the crib and can guarantee good food. Sounds like Tim is inviting all of us, all 600 plus of us at this moment that are watching, to come to Alabama. I'm all ears, although it's tough for me to travel for game days. I'm very selective with when I travel because Sarah and I, it's our money-making days. It's the most important days of the year. 17 of those days, sometimes 18, 19 of those days. Incredibly important for what we do. But obviously I have traveled in the past to London, to Buffalo last year, but other logistical plans in the past as well. So yeah, you can email us, Tim, as always, at BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com if you'd like to get that chatter going. A little Bama watch party. How about it? I'm going to be hanging out with the Tampa Bay Ravens flock, by the way. If any of you know the Tampa Ravens flock or the contact or the head POC or whatever they have going on down there, I would like to speak with them. It'd be fun. Because, again, I'm going to be in St. Pete as of September 1st for a little while. So I'd like to get – oh, I forgot Chris lives in Alabama as well. Tim, you guys got to connect. But the Tampa Bay Ravens flock would be fun. It'd be fun to, like, do my pregame show from there a few times. Maybe they might be interested in doing something. Citali Ramirez says, how can I join Be More Around Town, Minnesota, if I live here? That's a good question. I think they do some pregame tailgates, Citali. If you go to BeMoreAroundTown.com, you can actually look at their schedules coming up, and I'll do it for you quickly here. When do they play Minnesota? November 6th. Okay, let's see what they have. Do they have any packages for deposit, 3-night, 4-night? I'll tell you what, Citali, I think they have like a day of package since you live there and you don't need any like hotel stays or whatever, or airfare. Why don't you email Brian? It's BeMoreAroundTown.com, and I'll drop the site link in the live chat just so you can take a look and reach out to them. Here it is. Just shoot Brian a note. He'll let you know. Apparently people want to go to Alabama. It's gaining some steam, Tim. Good for you. Keaton Mitchell said he is physically 100% again after his 2023 ACL injury, which he told us, by the way, on draft night. A lot of what he's sharing in today's media session is what we heard back in April, which was awesome. 22.4 miles an hour is absurd, though. He also says he wants to be a Devin Hester type of return specialist where teams avoid him as a returner. Okay. I like it. You know, just he wants to get involved, man. Derrick came and obviously things changed for him in terms of usage and overall necessity. And then, of course, the tough timing was trying to get back from his ACL. But if Keaton is indeed back to 100% and clocking in at over 22 miles an hour, look out. You get him involved in some misdirection game, eye candy game, screen game, return specialist game. Oh, look out. That's an element of sheer speed and freakish athleticism that was so fun to watch a couple years ago before he went down. No Way DJ and Sharu Hashmi. Thank you guys both for all the support that you give us through Patreon. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast is where you can learn more about what we're offering here inside the channel. This is their monthly shout out. We appreciate you guys for being part of the community. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Go check out the best of playlist section. Jang wants to know if I'm going to the Miami game. I am still sort of coming up with my whole schedule, Jang, to be honest with you. I have a lot of logistics to get through in terms of how I'm going to attack the season, not being in Baltimore for the first time. How many times will I come back to Baltimore and do pregame shows? I have to figure that out. Which road sites do I really want to be a part of? Have to figure that out. So stay tuned. I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. How about that? If you haven't already done so, I would love for you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell. A lot of people ask, can you donate outside of YouTube? You always can. At Ravens Vault Podcast on Venmo. You can also go through the YouTube Super Chat feature. You can also give today. You can also join to become a member. We have 600 plus members 600. Maybe 700's in the cards for next week's. When PHP doesn't show, not that there aren't other generous people out there, because there are plenty. Man, Chris and Tila were going off yesterday and earlier this week, which was super appreciated. Just want to get you guys an updated number, an updated figure on where we're at membership-wise before we close out the show. Ooh, $5.99. $5.99, because things reset every day based on how everything works. So we're just south of 600 that we hit yesterday. It's all good, though. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I will be back with you on Monday at 12 noon Eastern for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. A little bit of golf this upcoming weekend for me. You can continue to connect with me on Instagram for the non-football content, the lifestyle content, if you will. And you can find me by searching at Bobby Baltimore, where my mom and I are literally becoming content creators this summer. Why not? Having a little bit of fun, going back and forth on dating and a number of other things. I've already showed you guys about this. Yes, Barry White, Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe, was the soundtrack behind it. There's Mom making her debut, as she did yesterday, and then this morning, or this afternoon, right off the top of the show. And then the chronicles of decluttering her house. We've got a tree removal estimate coming in next week. We're getting the driveway paved. I'm regrowing grass. I'm decluttering. I'm getting this place in order. Would love for you guys to follow along at Bobby Baltimore. Monroe, New York, Mansion Ridge, where we'll be playing golf tomorrow. I look forward to that. I look forward to catching up with you guys on Monday, if not before. I probably will look to do an afternoon show on Bobby Baltimore this afternoon, so stay tuned, because currently there are press conferences finishing up, and obviously I can't do both at the same time. So stay tuned for that. Heather McCubbins and Chris M. on the way out have both gifted a membership. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Chris. We are now at 601. Thank you for getting us back to that number. And let us know if you were on the receiving end of their generosity. Heather and Chris have been consistent this week. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. 601 channel Voltrons. That's where we end the week on. 700, perhaps in reach next week. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you, Richard, for getting us to 602, which is where we are at this current moment. 602. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Thank you guys so much for an awesome week. Have a fantastic weekend. I will catch up with you on Monday, if not before. Hope Sarah's vacation is off to a great start. And I'll catch up with you guys soon. Thanks to Huel. Appreciate Huel for the support. You can scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner if you want to learn more. Click on the link that's included in the show notes. There's also a link in the pinned comment in the live chat. It'll get you everything you need to know about Huel. And if you use our code, get you 15% off and a free gift on top of that. When you support our brand sponsors, you guys know the drill. You're supporting us. Thank you so much, Voltrons. Appreciate you. And as always, thanks for spending some time with us here inside the vault. Talk to you soon.